Now, let's go into the third use case. Now, this use case is very exciting. I think most of you will likely be familiar with that. You know, if you have done online shopping before, which I think everybody has, they use a lot of recommender system. Like the earliest one is Amazon, that you have bought books before in Amazon. You will see that, hey, customers who have bought this book has also purchased another book before. Therefore, most of the time you end up buying more books that you intend when you started shopping. So things like Spotify as well as Netflix, they're also very well known to have recommender system that are very effective. Now, likewise for our local scene, you know, Grab and Shopee and Lazada and many other online stores, they will have recommender systems so that they will continue to push products that are relevant to you. So what I'm going to show you in this use case is how do you go about doing it? It's actually not that difficult as it turns out. So now, this is how recommender system works to begin with. Now, first of all, the ML algorithm, the machine learning algorithm, is able to learn from past history, past data, to come up with similarity among products and among customers. So similarities can be learned from different features such as ratings and purchase history and stuff like that. So in a real project, it can be quite complicated. You can take in a lot of different features. But for this example, I'm just going to use transaction. Again, the transaction data that you have seen before. So with this kind of transaction data, since I know who have purchased what, we will be able to then put it into train a recommender engine, and the recommender engine will be able to create to understand similarities between two customers as well as between two products. So if, let's say, in this first example, if that customer have purchased similar products before, these two person have purchased similar products before, then the first person purchased another product, then the second person has not, then you can do a recommendation. So very easy to understand. But there's also another scenario whereby if this person has purchased some products, but then there is another product that are similar to what he has purchased, then you can also do a recommendation of that third or fourth or fifth product. So this is how companies can do upsell and cross-selling very effectively. So how would you go about using this kind of information? Well, usually you would train a recommender engine, and the training of the recommender engine can be simple, or it can be quite complex, depending on what kind of results you want to get to. So assuming that you already have a trained recommender system, you will then be able to come up with a list of products for each of the customers to recommend to. Then you combine with the churn and CLTV report, the customer lifetime value report that you have generated in use case 2. Combine these two. If there are specific customers that you want to pay special attention to, and then you would use this recommender system to come up with the kind of products that you want to push to them. Then you combine what kind of marketing that you want to throw on top of it, and what kind of messages that would be suitable for that particular customer. So again, I just want to emphasize something that is different from what we have been doing in the past. Now we are doing micro-targeting. With AI, we are able to micro-target to an individual. So once you're able to do that, again, we as marketers, we would do A/B testing. And once you have the A/B testing results, then you are ready to do a marketing campaign. Then that's where your upsell and cross-sell happens. Now, this is very simple diagram, but in reality, there's a lot of nuances, a lot of details inside. So what I would encourage you to do is that stay to the end of my presentation. Later, I'll show you how you can actually create a recommender system by yourself. Even if you do not know how to code, as long as you are interested to learn, there are ways that you can do it and give it a try. It is you can do a quick prototype with your own data set and see what kind of results you get. So why do we want to do recommender system? So according to research, that's creating a recommender system can actually create a lot of value for you. Amazon is reported to have 35% of their sales coming from product recommendation itself. So imagine that even if you cannot get a same level of performance as Amazon, you get half of it. You even get 15% of it. So a 15% of sales from product recommendation, that is a huge increase for you in your product mix. So with this kind of recommender system, not only do you get incremental sales, but you will also be able to have an opportunity to engage with your customer more frequently, because you'll be recommending products that that person will likely appreciate. It's not pushing junk to them, but rather something that he will likely need. You may be able to discover his preference before he even know it. So that will help you increase your customer engagement as well as retention. So another very cool thing is that, as with all the most of the machine learning model, the more you use the system, the more feedback you give it to them, the model will become more and more accurate. Same thing with recommender system. So every time that you have a recommender output, if you can have a feedback loop that tells the model how it has been behaving, over time, it will become more and more and more and more accurate. That's why I think it is important that each and every one of us give it a try. This will be a good first step into machine learning. Okay, before I go into the fourth use case, let me see any questions, Temple.
Yes, I have answered it halfway. Maybe you can continue. So the question is, how would the recommender system work for new customer who do not have any purchase history?
Oh, that is an excellent question. So it is a difficult question, but there are solutions. This is called a cold start problem. Cold start because you don't have history with them. So what you will need to do is to look at some similarities in terms of the profile, the demographics and stuff like that. You start there. It will not be totally accurate in the beginning, but then once it starts to have purchase history, then things will become better and better. There are many different algorithms. There are algorithm that takes into consideration of cold start and some that doesn't. The more popular ones are like collaborative filtering, which most of the recommender system do, but there are also content filtering algorithm and stuff like that, which is beyond the focus of today's seminar.
Yeah,
Any other questions? No more? Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's continue to move on. Now the fourth use case. So it's about listening to customers. You do want to know customers' feedback, whether they're still happy with you or whether they have additional things that they may like. In the past, what we do is we use customer surveys. But as all of us know, that customer surveys may not be that accurate. Customers may not want to tell you they're unhappy. They will just stop doing business with you. It's that simple. So that is the problem that we grapple with in doing marketing surveys. But AI now has the ability to help you get customer feedback in a way that was not possible before. And that has to do with the advancement of something called natural language processing. Basically, natural language processing, NLP, means that it's able to process and analyze what customers say and feel about you automatically. It's able to take free text, meaning things that they write in in your customer forum, they write email to your customer support, etc., etc. They don't write it in very specific format for traditional algorithm to pick out. So it is very hard for traditional analytics to be able to process that kind of data. But with AI, NLP is now able to do a lot of that understanding. Not only is it able to do simple rule-based stuff, like if you see this type of words, it means customer are not happy. However, those kind of rule-based systems are very limited. There is only that many words that you can play with, and then a lot of times customers don't really tell you exactly whether they are happy or not happy. Like for example, I can say that, hey, my battery life runs down very quickly, or my phone actually is responding very fast. So things like that. How do you know whether fast is good or run down quickly is bad? Things like that. However, with NLP's technology, there's been a lot of advancement in the past just 2-3 years of having machine learning to understand the context of what people are talking about. So therefore, you cannot just do keyword search, because keyword search, you will have to know exactly what kind of words you're looking for. But with NLP, with a modern language model, machine learning algorithm now is able to extract contextual meaning from words and sentences. That's very, very powerful. Let me give you an example that's very popular in the NLP world. Like the language model today is able to understand the difference between king and queen is equivalent to the difference between a man and a woman. So that is contextual. That is, if you think about it, if you want to use rule-based, how many types of rules, how many tens of millions of rules do you have to write in order for the algorithm to be able to understand context like that? So with the modern NLP, now we are able to allow the algorithm to automatically read text that our customers feedback to us and then make sense out of it. And what kind of sense are we talking about? Well, like for example, search. Everybody knows that when you search, if you do a Google search, you don't really have to spell out that specific keyword in order to be able to search what you want. It is using contextual search. Behind Google, there is a very powerful language model that is driving its ability to understand your search phrase. Another thing that is very popular is chatbot. Well, I know some people will say that chatbot is still not very accurate, and that is true, but it is increasing very, very fast, because as we machine learning model, the NLP's model become more and more accurate and be able to understand contextual meaning, it will become more and more accurate. And sometimes people actually don't really need chatbot, but rather question and answer systems. Now, the difference between question and answer system versus chatbot is that Q&A is one question, one answer, one question, one answer, whereas chatbot, sometimes the users expect a continuation of a chat, which makes it a lot more difficult. Then sentiment and analysis is also very popular, meaning that, hey, why don't you look at all the feedback from customers and tell me whether in general my customers are happy or not happy. So that is a pretty difficult thing to do just a few years ago, but sentiment analysis has become pretty common today in machine learning. Another thing is machine translation. That's quite well known. Intent analysis, that's quite new. It's like, can I just read some passages that my customers write, and then deduce from that, what is his intention? Is his intention to leave me or to buy something? And if it's to buy something, what is he trying to look at? And also things like topic modeling and automatic summarization. This is a very hot topic now, and it will allow us to be able to do customer feedback a lot more in an automated way and a lot more accurately. So let me give you an example. Like here, we can take customer feedback from a customer forum, whatever they write, as well as things they send in via email, whether they're happy, they're not happy, requesting for support, etc. And then there's also some online feedback. As long as you are able to get those information, you will be able to make use of this and then create a NLP-based machine learning model. And how do you do that is beyond the context of today's discussion, but in short, you will have to start with a language model and then train that language model on your data sets. Means that you will give examples of your past customer feedback and then and then tell the model what are the desired outcome or the desired classification or things that that the machine learning model can learn from. Once you're able to do that, the machine learning model will learn the behavior and start to do things like sentiment analysis. So you can use those sentiments based on what the customer wrote. And also more importantly in sentiment analysis is trends. It's not about just currently what is my customers feeling about me, but rather what is the trend? Are they becoming happy or becoming not as happy? But why are they not happy? What are the specific topics that you can do monitoring? And this is very powerful. It's like you have this kind of feedback. Why don't what I'd like to do is for the algorithm to be able to pick up specific messages that talks about specific hot topics, key issues, and things like that. So that I can really monitor what is going on in the customer feedback loop. A lot of times today, those kind of knowledge reside with your customer support rep. The problem is it's very hard to extract those kind of knowledge from their brains. But with machine learning, it is automatically doing that for you. It will be able to pass all this information and start to track specific hot topics, key issues, and stuff like that for you. And even more powerful is that it can help you track the emergence of certain topics that you are not even aware of. So topic monitoring is not just about specific topics that you are aware of that you want to monitor. That's definitely doable. Those are the known unknowns. It can also help you do the unknown unknowns, things that you don't know that is already happening. There are, unhappiness among your customers group or your customer base on certain things. So with topic monitoring, you will be able to pick those up, and then you can ask the machine learning model to display all those messages related to this upcoming trend. Another thing that is very useful is down here, automated support. This is like, okay, a lot of these comes into the company, and then usually there'll be one person, a customer support rep that will read all the emails and online feedback and then reroute it to different departments. The problem with doing that is this is a very stale job. The person don't stay around for long. And then when the person goes away, you got to train another person. Accuracy becomes a problem. Then the customer's feedback doesn't get to the right department. Therefore, you end up with unhappy customers. So with machine learning, again, because it's able to sieve out the contextual meaning of the customer feedback, you can train it in such a way that it will automatically route to the right department, right? Again, these are very hot topics today in customer support. And if you are interested in doing something like that, I encourage you to come back to AI Singapore for discussions, because we have a lot of experience doing something like that. So just to give you a graphical view of potentially what the end result will look like. So you can have customer sentiment trends. So they can say, the customer sentiment is going up, then you're fine. If it's going down, then it's, you gotta pay attention. Messages with low sentiment score, you can pull it out, or messages related to key topics, you can just also pull it out. Just think about it from a senior management perspective, right? So this is your ability to sense what is going on in your business, what your customers are telling you about your business. Think about it. This is no longer a nice to have. If you have this capability and your competitors don't, I think you will have a competitive advantage against them. So another thing is about speech to text. Just now we are talking about text input, but often we also have call centers. Again, how do we get the speech, first of all, to become automatic text transcription? Well, there are a lot of transcription software out there. However, as you know, Singaporeans speak in a very peculiar way. We tend to add in different type of languages, Mandarin, dialects, English, Malay, Tamil. So we do have what we call a brick. Later I'll explain the concept of brick. The brick is called Speech Lab, that is trained on local languages. So it's able to recognize Singlish, things like, so it will be able to recognize different type of languages, English, Malay, Mandarin, and Tamil in one sentence. So you will be able to do a much better text transcription. And once you have the text transcription done, it will, then you can feed it into the machine learning model that I've just talked about. So you can see that there's a lot of things here that is very exciting. So besides the 4 use cases that I've shown you, which are very, very popular, I just want to highlight a few more here because the list is just too long. There's no way that we can go through all of them. I just want to highlight a few other popular ones so that if you are interested in any of them, come back to us. One is demand forecast. Everybody, I think, understand what that means. The difference between demand forecast and forecasting customer lifetime value is one is based on customer, predicting individual customers' purchase. Demand forecast usually is based on product, different type of product groups, different SKUs. And customer chatbot, that is, we talked about that. Dynamic pricing, this is very exciting. I think this trend was started in the airline industry because they have inventory that will become stale and unusable if it is not sold. Therefore, the optimal pricing is based on how much inventory that they have versus what is the demand. But if you extend this same concept to all other businesses, it's doable, and machine learning right now is able to help customers do dynamic pricing more accurate than traditional methods. Next best action, this is very new. It is the ability to predict what is the best action for a particular customer based on the customer journey. So if you are able to map your customer journey, for example, from lead generation all the way to closing sales, there are multiple paths that you can take. But for each individual customer, which path should that person take? And if that person is on this particular path and he has made this kind of action, what is the next best action to take in the next step so that it will maximize the probability of converting this particular opportunity to a sale? Just imagine that you are able to increase just 10%, 15% of your conversion rate. That will be a tremendous help to your business. Last but not least is predictive maintenance. It is about using data from your product, and nowadays data from the product could also include things like IoT. Once you have IoT, you will be able to put in some of the things into your customers machine, for example. Now I'm not talking about retail anymore. I'm talking more about machines where you can put an IoT device and look at signals that are being generated from the machine, and then you will be able to know before the customer even know it, when the product or when the thing is gonna fail. And here in our in AI Singapore, we have done quite a few of this kind of project. One of which is with a company that we help them predict when their lift, the lift in a building, when that will fail many days in advance, so that the maintenance crew can go there and fix the lift before it even fails. So therefore, it will be able to increase your customer satisfaction and improve retention. So you see, there are so many of these that are available. I'm just trying to list out some of the more popular ones. So let me stop here and see what other questions I can take.
Questions.
Wow, fantastic. All right, let's move on.